Hello everybody and welcome to YouTube. If you're wondering, I am on my other account, otherwise there would have been ads to interrupt the video. So I'm going to watch here instead. I'm checking out this channel called Brightside because if you see, I've searched up Titanic because as you can see here, the stroke travels right here. He made like 7 videos on this, and I'm really wondering if we can do a little bit of an expedition, and from my knowledge, which we are going to go ahead and review one of those videos. Alright, so the video that we are going to be reviewing, I think, is this one. Titanic survivor claims an iceberg didn't destroy the ship. Alright, it seems like, so firstly, the Titanic is right near the iceberg. Secondly, there's a U-boat or submarine there. And thirdly, why does the Titanic have red funnels? I don't know, but we're just going to go ahead and get into this video. So let's go and get started into it. Alright, that is a light bulb if you were wondering.
Have you ever met a person who hasn't ever heard the story of Titanic?
Nope. Probably no one doesn't know the story of the Titanic. I mean, most people don't know it very well, unlike me, which kind of dived into it, or historians. But most people do know the story of the Titanic. So, by the way, the Titanic actually looks fairly accurate. Although, why is that? Why is the fourth funnel more black than the other ones? They're supposed to be all the same color black. The ocean is way too wavy, and that is not a Union Jack flag. So I'm just gonna continue.
Unlikely. Even if
Yep. Oh wait, it's a film.
you ask a 10-year-old, they'll tell you exactly what took down the gigantic ship.
Not exactly, because, well, most people say, like, if you took a 10-year-old, they would just say, oh yeah, an iceberg sank the ship. When in reality, it was just more consequential stuff. The air field, all the wireless telegraphs, and stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that actually vary depending on the Titanic story. So I think that we can all agree that they can't tell us exactly why it sank.
However, some survivors of the sinking legend would beg to differ. Here's one of their stories.
Beg to differ. Oh yeah, I think the survivors were kind of like traumatized from the experience. I mean, I can really understand that, like, a lot of people died and stuff. So it must have been horrible. Also, what is that animation? Why are there modern people on the Titanic?
And surprise, it has nothing to do with an iceberg.
Okay, firstly, text can't fall into a light bulb like that. And secondly, if it really did, the light bulb would tip over and fall over like one of Lusitania's light boats right now. Go watch, if you know on it, go watch the new animation on it. I think that's pretty good. Also, they got the lowering ropes wrong. Just make them black. Why are they red? Also, there's no portholes in the ship, and it was just all black.
Armenian publicist Vodkanak Bayurate was 25 years old in the spring of 1912.
Okay.
He described what happened on his journey to America on the most famous ship in the world in his memoirs. Quick history quiz.
Why do the funnels look orange? Also, why is it why the funnel's reflecting in the lit kind of reflecting thing. If like, how can it all be reflecting if there's no light? It was a no moonlight. It seems like that. Also, there's no masts as a wireless rope, and two of the and these davits are empty. So also, why is that water clear all of a sudden? I think the Titanic in the Atlantic was kind of in the water there was just kind of all thick, so you couldn't see anything else. So yeah.
Do you remember when the Titanic left the Southampton dock?
Yes, it's April 10th, 1912, like noon. Yeah, it was like around noon.
Did I hear April 10th, 1912?
Yes, you just did. Even more detailed.
Yeah, that's right. Now, back.
Oh wait, now they're showcasing it. Oh, so that's why it was reflecting. They just wanted to make a cool transition thing with that. Okay.
Back to the story. In 1912, Vodkanak published some books together with his father, a famous Armenian writer. His task was to
Right, I know basically nothing about this, so I'm gonna play it until I find something that's to do with the Titanic.
take the books to America. He had some health problems, so he was denied at the consulate at first, but he got the papers he needed to enter the U.S. after his father pulled some strings for him.
Okay. I'm pretty sure in the 1997 movie, yes, this was true. I think health inspectors weren't good on shits. In fact, in the 1997 movie, in the South, when they first enter Southampton and they go down to like the boarding area, if you look closely at the sign, you can see that it says health inspection for third class passengers. Because yeah, they need to take a health inspection for third class. But I don't know if that was really true. Maybe they fixed it. But hey, I don't really know.
Vodkanak caught the legendary Orient Express from Istanbul to Le Havre, and from there,
Oh wait, he didn't mention anything about going in Istanbul before. I don't know anything about this, so I'm just gonna do it until he mentions something about the Titanic.
he made it to Southampton.
How does a train go across the sea? Whatever, you must take another boat.
He learned that the nearest ship departing for the New World
Alright, it looks like they're referencing Belfast here. Also, there's no mast, and the lifeboat is empty again.
was the Titanic, which
They put this isn't the bow, I'm assuming. I'm pretty sure the nameplate was over on the back of the ship, like the very back, not on the side back of the ship. But it's 2D, so, and they want to show a side view of the ship, but hey, that's just another historical inaccuracy.
one was talking about. He was
That's not how they boarded the ship, but it varies. So if you're on first class, you have to board a gangway to around like this black line right here. Here. So if you're in first class, you would only have to take a gangway to there. Third class A took like a tender boat, I think, or they boarded through the aft section at Edic. The second class passengers had their own little building and stuff, but this is just that doesn't look anything like the boarding gangways. It didn't go all the way up to C deck. It didn't just go up like that. And just wanted to let you know that. Also, they missed out on a lot of the equipment on the stern, and there's no little bridge thing at the back.
pretty excited about the journey and arrived at the port neatly shaven and smartly dressed, with a trendy cap and massive glasses that were popular in the U.S. at the
Alright, so it does seem like he is third class. But just as I expected, he would be boarding aft. Would he be boarding into the E-deck area? Yeah, there was only one instance where there was a boarding gangway set up for the stern, but that was back when the Titanic was being fitted out and doing her sea trials in Belfast, Ireland. That was when she was doing her sea trials and getting ready to go to sea. Way before, like April 3rd or something. Thing, things so long before she would be carrying any passengers of any kind.
At time. The writer met 3 men with whom he shared cabin 804.
I'm not trying to be picky here, but those white Star Line tickets don't exactly look accurate compared to the ones in the 1997 movie. But hey, I'm not trying to be too picky, so I'll just continue on.
They were 2 Englishmen and a French guy from Alsace named Morin. Because Morin and Vodkanak were around the same age, and Vodkanak could speak excellent French, they quickly became friends. They would hang out on the deck at the
Wait, hold on. Did it just say cabin 8? Hold on. You need to go back.
The writer met 3 men with whom he shared cabin 804. They were...
I'm pretty sure that it always had a letter before it. Like, I heard the suites, and it always says, like, B84. Or even back in, like, 1953, when someone asks for the cabin number, it goes B5252. So it's not, so it has to be, like, a D. I think it depends on what floor it's on. So I think it would be, like something like EF or G84. Or so, but I'm not entirely sure. So yeah.
2 Englishmen and a French guy
Also, we're only 2 minutes in, and I don't know how much more we have.
from Alsace named Morin. Because Morin and Vodkanak were around the same age, and Vodkanak could speak excellent French, they quickly became friends. They would hang out on the deck.
All right. Yet again, one thing I see is that the water is clear again. And it seems like that there is no second-class staircase or lounge apart. Seeing what there's from here, and the railing. Oh wait, it does up stuff. Well then, I guess we can.
At the onboard saloon, the bar.
Wait. Was he just
The same age, and Vodkanak could speak excellent French. They quickly became friends.
Wait, hold.
They
Did he just say bar?
would hang out on the deck at the onboard saloon, the bar, and the library.
There wasn't a bar on board the Titanic. Nick. No, there wasn't a bar on board the Titanic. Nick, I really don't think that's true. It is shown in old movies, too, in a 1953 scene. I think it was in a 1953 scene where someone is kind of trying to enter the bar at 10 o'clock. So, in Atlantic 1929, people are also saying 1943. But in 1958 and from there, people found out that it wasn't true. However, how they are saying library, there was a second-class library. But from what I see, he is third class. And I don't think a third-class library existed. So, yeah.
None of them could possibly imagine what would become of the unsinkable ship just days later.
Okay.
They went to bed rather late on April 14th, just like on the other nights. Shortly after midnight, something that sounded like a big explosion woke everyone up. Bam!
Okay. Hey, a big explosion.
The night lights went out, and the Englishmen were jolted from their bunks by a strong push. One of them injured his head, and another one
One of them injured his head. Okay.
on his arm. The 2 new friends helped them up, took a few belongings with them, and left the cabin, not knowing that they would never step back in it.
Yeah, I don't think Tusk floats in the water.
Vodkanak only took his
I think that it doesn't resemble a third class corridor. It looks more like first class.
Passport and all the cash he had, about
Okay.
$54.
Due to inflation, now that's a lot more money than it seems, I think.
It was clear that something was wrong, yet it was quiet in the corridor. The young men tried to find out what was going on.
I think I resemble what he's trying to say here. So basically what happened is that big explosion that they felt, that was actually the iceberg collision. Because we didn't know, in third class, that it was lower down the ship, so they could easily have felt it, and there was just a big rumble and a push, I guess. So it would have been likely that that would happen. And in many movies, there are instances of the stewards coming up and passengers are saying, they're just going back to bed and stuff. So, I think that what the explosion felt was actually the iceberg collision.
None of the crew members wanted to say anything, but a few minutes later, it was impossible to deny that the Titanic was going underwater. Vodkanak noticed
Oh, right. So, wait, hold on. Can I see that animation?
wanted to say anything, but a few minutes later, it was impossible to deny that the Titanic was going underwater.
The Titanic literally just passed the iceberg like nothing happens. Well, I guess it did turn to port and stuff, but I guess I can't include that because of their 2D animation.
Vodkanak noticed the sailors were getting the lifeboats out.
Yes, you probably would have noticed that they were getting some lifeboats out. So why nothing to know with that?
And commanded they were only for women and kids.
Technically they said it was women and children, but women and kids also is it. Back then they kind of sounded a bit more like children and stuff. So, just a little bit of information for you.
Some men tried to sneak in anyway, but gunshots were fired off to prevent them from doing.
I think it's kind of I think I'm not sure that most officers fired them. I think I'm kind of maybe sure that Second Officer Lowy did them, because in the scene tonight to remember when they're launching second last lifeboat and during near the yacht section, he pulls out like what a kind of thing he has, and everyone comes down before just panicking again. So, but Murdoch, there's just no way. I think it would have probably just been Second Officer Lowy, because as they heard gunshots, sure, but they weren't. But nobody actually saw someone firing a gun. So it may have just been a boiler explosion, may have been Sir Lowy, but definitely not Murdoch. But anyways, I'm not actually sure that they actually fired guns.
So, Vodkanak and Moran looked at each other, understanding they had two choices: stay on the sinking ship and say goodbye to their futures, or at least try to save themselves by jumping in the water.
Well, there's actually a third option, just altering history. So I think one thing that actually I remember that happened on Titanic was that I think it was also shown in a deleted scene from 1997. It's basically a man dressed up as a woman and tried to get on a lifeboat. That could actually go successful. That's what I think. Random Armenian guy. Yeah, just keep that in mind.
Both wanted to live, and both knew they could swim well, so the choice was obvious.
Well, first of all, that water is like freezing cold. If you swim in there for more than 20 minutes, you're basically dead. Well, unless you're Charles Yachtman. He has his own kind of.
And managed to get them 2 life vests. Vodkanak put his.
I think they're called more life jackets at that time, but I guess it's okay that he can call them that. Continuing on. By the way, we're not even halfway into the video.
Passport and money in a little bag and tied it around his neck. The Titanic's bow was already underwater by that time.
Right, so if I'm right, that would have been around 1:46 to 1:50 a.m. And also, after, yeah, I think he actually got the speed right. Wait, hold on, I just noticed something. The rudder isn't actually a rudder, and there's no propellers. Also, the bridge is going up.
It must have taken
I think the funnel wasn't shown collapsing, but hey.
them real courage. Imagine you're in the middle of the high seas on a sinking ship.
By the way, it is actually not a good idea to jump into the water with a life jacket on. Because if you do that, normal life jackets kind of just let you go in the water for a sec and then come back up. But Titanic's life jackets, you're not going anywhere. You're not going in the water at all. Oh, the life jacket is going to come up and slide up and break your neck. So just don't do it.
And you know no one will save you right away.
Yeah, no, we'll save you right away. And you wouldn't exactly know that because, yeah, nobody's gonna save you right away in real life. But in alternate history, a ship could have reached Titanic at this point, and yeah.
A lot of people in this situation wouldn't have dared to take it to the open water.
If I was actually there, I would have gone to the open water, but I would have ran down there, and so I would have ran down to where the water was and then got in, so I wouldn't have to break my neck, and I could swim easier.
So Vodkanak and Morin jumped and got instantly separated by a sudden wave. It only
A sudden wave. Yeah, I don't think that actually happened. The sea was like dead calm when the Titanic sank, which was weird. But the only massive wave that happened was when the Titanic's deck was flooding, and that was when and the ship's list eased and it sent a massive tidal wave over a part of the ship. But there are no accounts, but the sea was dead calm everywhere else. Also, the funnels would have collapsed by now.
made things worse, because braving this catastrophe with a friend was one thing, but doing it alone.
They didn't even show the ship going vertical. All right, I don't know what you're doing, but the ship did not just go level, go kind of vertical and then sink. That's just not accurate.
Was way scarier.
That's actually one thing you got right. Like at least, like you wouldn't technically be alone. There would have basically just been a ton of people around you everywhere in the water. So you wouldn't be alone at all. But generally speaking, like friends and family, yes, it would have been way scarier.
The water in the North Atlantic that night was just below freezing at a scary 28 degrees Fahrenheit.
-2 degrees Celsius. Now, I guess that is kind of cold. But I haven't actually touched Titanic's water, so I don't exactly know the real temperature of it. So, yeah.
The young rider felt his arms and legs go numb, and he was understandably getting weaker and weaker.
Okay. Yeah, but a lot of people are weak and numb. Even on the lifeboats, that's what happened. It was super cold.
Every second. He lost the life vest, and now his only hope for survival was a lifeboat. He was about to faint, and it wasn't getting any warmer in the water. Just then, he bumped into something. It was
is he one of the people who got rescued by the Fifth Officer Lily boat? That's
a lifeboat. But if you're hoping for a happy end at this point, I'll have to disappoint you.
Oh wait, hold on. I can guess what's gonna happen. The crew are not gonna pick him up because then they're gonna get swamped because they're afraid they're gonna get swamped and the boat's gonna capsize.
The boat was so overcrowded, they pushed the young man.
Oh, how it was too overcrowded. Yeah, I don't know any incidences of happening. If it did happen, then it must have been really launched really late in the sinking, because most of the lifeboats early in the sinking launched kind of half full.
And with a paddle when he tried to stick to the boat. He begged for help, but they refused to show mercy.
Okay.
Their logic was simple. One extra man in that boat could have made it sink, and no one in it would have had a chance for survival. He had to let go of the boat, and what happened after is a miracle.
Okay. I don't really know anything about this, but let's see.
Vodkanak woke up alive on board another ship. That ship was the Carpathia.
Wait, hold on. I see what's happening here. So what I can guess what happened is he was one of the dead bodies in the water, and when the fifth us the lower boat kind of picked him up again, and he and they came back and realized he wasn't dead, so they took him aboard, and he ended up on the Carpathia.
And it was
Also, the Carpathian model is horrible. Like, there's just black rooms up here on the deck. Like, what? Also, I don't think the masts were white. I think they're like Titanic's, just kind of brown. But hey, I'm not trying to be nitpicky. Let's see what he has to
en
say.
route to New York with lucky survivors on board. The writer had a terrible headache and he saw double, but what mattered most is that he escaped from the freezing ocean. How did he do it?
Well, let's see if I was correct.
Couldn't remember anything. The next evening, the ship made it to New York.
Okay. He must have woken up a bit late. I think it took Carpathia like 4 days to get to New York anyway. So I must have been like unconscious for like 3 days.
Without his passport and money, which he must have lost at some point during the rescue, Vodkanak was taken to the hospital.
Oh wait, someone actually got to the hospital? I actually never knew that. But hey, maybe it's not true.
12 days later, a woman came into the room, and all she could say through tears was, "Oh, my dear boy."
I don't know who that is, but
She turned out to be the person who saved Vodkanak. Mrs. Astor was in her 50s, and she told
Oh, Mr. Astor. So I think that was the woman whose husband kind of just politely stepped away in the boat. And by the way, there's only 4 minutes of the actual video left. You're not enjoying this, but someone's begging you to watch. So, okay.
the young man the lifeboat he tried to get into didn't actually leave without him.
Oh, wait. That's a twist.
Mrs. Astor told the sailors that the young man was her son, and she wouldn't let them go without him, since she'd already
Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Mrs. Astor. Okay, I'm getting. Oh, wait. I don't know if that story is true, but I'll maybe look it up later or something.
lost her husband on the Titanic.
Yeah, your husband was kind of just said no to being in the lifeboat because she said no and she just let it go, I guess.
It turned out she kept Vodkanak's passport and money and invited him to visit her when he felt better. After he recovered, the writer was reunited with his family in Boston.
So that's a picture of him. Wow, I never knew that. But if it's not true, then let me know or something.
He even received all the books he planned to sell in America, since
Whoa, that's a happy ending.
they were traveling on a different ship. Vodkanak lived a long and happy life, and as a great storyteller, he shared what happened to him many times.
Okay.
Interestingly, he's never mentioned an iceberg hitting the Titanic.
But what he felt was actually an iceberg, as you can already assume, because I already told it.
And always spoke about an explosion. If what he said was true, Something must have caused that huge explosion.
Nothing caused the explosion because it was the iceberg that made a huge shockwave, and that's what happened.
It could have been a fire, and quite a lot of people actually believe that theory.
A coal fire did not sink the Titanic. Alright, I think the coal fire was put out, and it was like directly below the first funnel. No? Well, some people believe that it may have weakened the hull, but it didn't do anything, so yeah.
Saying that coal was burning in the ship's hull.
But they put it out.
That fire would have started long before the ship's departure, and there was simply no way to put it out. Titanic must.
There was a way to put it out. Oh, well, they're not. I mean, I think the Titanic actually had firefighters or something like that.
Have left with the fire still ongoing, and the flames weakening the hull so much it couldn't survive its meeting with the iceberg.
Alright, that is not true. It had nothing to do with the iceberg. But because it was burning in because as look at it, it can't weaken the hull. Because if you're talking about Lusitania and Mauritania and that in an iceberg, that would have definitely probably done some things. And seeing that the coal bunker was on the edge. But in Titanic's case, the coal bunkers weren't on the edge of the hull. Well, they were on the middle of the ship, which means that if the fire was going, it wouldn't have weakened the hull because it was in a coal bunker, which was in a separate room, which wouldn't have hurt the hull.
Supporters of this theory use pictures of the Titanic leaving the docks for evidence, pointing to a huge dark mark on the hull.
It was probably just a smudge on the camera, as somebody else said.
Even if that's true, though, it's still not obvious whether the fire led to an explosion, and supporters of this theory don't deny there was an iceberg.
Oh wait, okay. Hey, by the way, there's only 2 minutes left of this video if you're wondering. Wait, how would that work? If the explosion happens, I don't know.
Another theory that explained the explosion claimed that there was a German U-boat involved in the sinking of the
Oh my gosh. Alright. Firstly, you have to talk about that World War I started in 2 years. The Germans only invented the U-boat because they needed it in that time at World War I. And Germany wasn't at war with Britain. They didn't invent the U-boat until like World War I. And so I'm pretty sure that there was no German U-boat involved because they weren't invented yet. Besides, if that happened, it would probably have started World War I. And also, if that had happened, then Germany would have gotten a lot of hate from Britain because obviously other survivors would have found out. Besides, the Titanic would have probably spotted the U-boat, and they weren't invented yet. So yeah.
Titanic. The Armenian writer was, in fact, not the only survivor who mentioned they heard explosion sounds coming from somewhere deep in the bowels of the ship. And they'd also claimed they'd seen a searchlight coming from some ship shortly after Titanic had sunk.
The searchlight would have probably been the Carpathia, because they were looking for the Titanic survivors, but they were in the wrong position. They entered the wrong position in the Morse code. So they basically entered the wrong position in the Morse code. So once the Carpathia arrived, they were wondering where they were, so they probably used a searchlight. And by the way, do U-boats even have searchlights? I'm not exactly sure.
It wasn't a vessel hurrying to the rescue, so it could have actually been a submarine that surfaced to see what it had done to the legendary ship.
No, there was no submarine. It was the Carpathia.
This theory is highly unlikely, though, for several reasons.
Oh wow! He actually has some common sense in this video. Wow, bright side. Give him an applause. Also, the ship is completely black.
First of all, as you know, the Titanic sank in 1912, which was still a time of peace.
Yes, as already mentioned.
No country in the world would dare to kill thousands of people and provoke other countries for no reason. Secondly, a U-boat from Europe couldn't have gone that far in those times.
What are they? I thought the one.
And
Yeah, speaking of that, on the Lusitania, yeah, the person on U-22 really took his chances because he had like 2 torpedoes left and he needs them to get back. So when he took the torpedo at the Lusitania, it was kind of like gambling all your money at the casino. No, you know? Oh, he actually sank the ship, and he was running out of fuel. Well, and also, yes, it would have been really far. Or it's like, besides, it was, besides, what if the U-boat sunk the Titanic, then it would have probably either shot the other ships in the area or something. So yeah.
couldn't have been stationed in that region either.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, why did the line point to France? Germany invented the U-boat. So in reality, they'd have to go from like here or here. They had to go through Denmark some way if they were there. Then they had to sail through the English Channel or above Scotland. Then down here or through the English Channel. And then all the way to where Titanic was. I think would have ran out of fuel.
It simply wouldn't have survived there for a long time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Finally, hitting a target that's moving quickly at nighttime is still a challenge for submariners even today.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lusitania was... Yeah, that's why the Lusitania was also really a gamble. Because that was moving at 30 miles per... That was moving at like 30 knots or 30 miles per hour. And when they fired the torpedo, I think they ended like slightly ahead of it. And they didn't expect it to hit it at all. So, yeah, have fun with that.
And it was basically impossible in 1912. It's hard to tell what could have made a man who survived such a tragedy remember things that did or didn't happen.
Yeah, at least you remember.
Let's hope that in the future, scientists will be able to explain all the mysteries surrounding the Titanic.
I do really hope for that. Like when time machines were invented, I'm going to go back to April 10th, 1912 and board the Titanic, because I really want to see what happened for myself. Like, it could be completely different. Like, if the ship could have gone down intact, like or something. I really just don't know. So, yeah.
So, do you believe...
Why is that ship so tall? Why is that ship so tall? Oh, the bow. It literally looks like it's like... the bow there, it literally looks like it's like just a massive triangle piece and then it's just a little thing.
An explosion might have killed...
Oh, it just ran over the iceberg.
Titanic, and there was no iceberg at all?
No, I do not believe that because of all the reasons I just stated in this video.
Let me know down in the comments.
I don't have comments enabled, so...
If you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend.
I didn't learn anything new. My brain cells only got worse.
But hey, don't go anywhere just yet. We have over 2,000 cool videos for you to check out.
2,000 inaccurate videos.
All you have to do is pick the left or right video, click on it, and
There is no left or right video, bright side. You're talking nonsense here.
enjoy. Stay on the bright side of life.
And the video's over, I guess. So hold on, let me just get... what? Okay. Well, that is the end of today's video. Hold on, let me unlock that. And that is the end of today's video, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe with all notifications if you want my brain cells to go down. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.